So, folks, at a recent Gleaner Editors Forum, clinical psychologist Georgia Rose expressed concern about the mental wellness of our children who might be feeling the pressure to secure high academic grades. So we invited her to delve more into the topic. So she joins us via Zoom to share some of those concerns. Good morning, Georgia. How are you?
Good morning, Neville. Thank you so much for having me. I'm well.
Great to have you with us this morning. What is your concern? I mean, I have the article, I read what you said, but in a nutshell, what is your concern here?
We really want our children to do well. You know, it's such a wonderful feeling when you have accomplished your goals. But we also want to encourage parents to be mindful of that pursuit of doing well. You know, so often our children are pushed beyond their limits and capacities. And in the pursuit of academic greatness, we rob them of their basic rights to play and be average, everyday children. So that is the concern.
I see there's some WHO information here that speak to what we'll see in a couple of years with regard to mental health concerns in our children. I'm wondering if those are manifesting already. But in October of, which year was this? UNICEF indicating that 1 in 5 young people at 15 to 24 surveyed across 21 countries are reporting feelings of depression, loss of interest in doing things. I'm curious, Georgia, what you found in your last 2 years that you've been practicing. Do you see this mirroring itself here in JA?
When I was being trained as a psychologist, one of the truths that really existed scientifically was that children rarely experience mental health challenges. And that was because they had a lot of buffers. And one of the largest buffers for children is their exposure to play, free time, relaxed time, engagement with their peers, a lot of social recreational activities. And those things create a sort of cocoon that help to mitigate against the effects of the stresses of daily life. As we have become more advanced as a society and we pursue greatness at a higher pace, and Neville and Simone, if you think about yourself, at the age of where our children are now when they take PEP and CXC and K, but the pressures were so less. I know personally for me, I never went to an extra lesson class. I played a lot. I was always playing and I enjoyed playing. And I think those days or that time really benefited us greatly. And when we think about ourselves, we're no less than our children. I think most of us have great communication skills. We are critical thinkers. We have excelled in our various spaces. If we fast forward it to now, we hear our children doing these extended hours of studying and preparation. They're carrying very excessive amounts of subjects at the CXC and K levels. And you have to ask yourself, at what time do they engage in the social dynamics that are necessary to prepare them for adulthood? So when they get into their adult years, do they know how to make friends? There was a study that conducted a few years ago that I read right before the pandemic. And it spoke about the variables that really correlate strongly to happiness and long life. And these researchers did this extensive longitudinal study. And they looked at exercise, they looked at diet, they looked at marital status, they looked at job status, they looked at financial status, they looked at having children, they looked at religion, they looked at all these variables. And what kept coming up was the presence of healthy social supportive systems, having good relationships in your life. I'm very concerned because I'm seeing a lot of children in practice. And of course, I'm going to see the kids who are struggling. I'm not going to see the typical children. But I'm having a lot of kids in practice who don't have a lot of meaningful friendships and struggle.
I want to ask you, Georgia, culturally, we like to talk about how well our kids are doing in school. We have a lot of parents who perhaps did not have the benefit of education, who I want to ask you if a lot of us are living vicariously through our children. Is that the concern, or are we as a society, are the policymakers who are in charge of these important buckets like education, just putting too much on the kids, or is it a mixture of both?
I think it might be a mixture of both, because I don't think there's anything wrong with a parent wanting their child to do well, because we see education as a vehicle towards success and a means of getting us out of poverty and whatever constraints might exist in previous generations. There's nothing wrong with that. And I do believe that all parents should encourage their children to do their best and support them in those capacities. But we also, as parents, need to safeguard their rights to mental health and wellness. So I believe that all schools from a policy level should ensure that play is timetabled into children's day. Children must have free periods where there's nothing to do. When we get to the PEP and the CXC level, there is a culture within our schools, and it is an unspoken culture, but it exists. And I know because I exist in the space with the children, where when I say to the kiddos, when they have anxiety, when they're not sleeping very well, when they're bedwetting, when they're nervous, when they're very sad, and they come to see me in therapy and we're playing, and I say, tell me about PE or tell me about playtime. And they will say, we don't do those things anymore. You know, we have to do our mental ability during playtime. We have to learn to write letters during playtime. We have to do our communication tasks. Because there's this pressure to get into the best schools. And I know there are many persons who might say, but what is she saying? Why wouldn't you want your child to get to the best school? I want everybody to hear me. That is not what I'm saying.
Georgia, sorry to jump in. And I want to play devil's advocate. I'm suggesting here that it's not a one size fits all. You mentioned staying up late. That's been going on forever. I can remember my brothers, I didn't do it because I didn't study a lot, but my brothers would stay up till 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. I suspect Simone did that when she would be at university and stuff. So again, I'm playing devil's advocate. And I accept that the last 2 years, we've never seen anything like that. So I accept that the last 2 years would have been different. But anything wrong with that? If you want to really achieve and you want to be first in the class and you want to get first class honors and you're just going to do more than anybody else, anything wrong with that?
There's nothing wrong with wanting to do well, but there is something wrong with robbing children of sleep. Sleep is very vital and precious. There's lots of research and data out there that tells us that sleep is a very important reparative time for the brain and the nervous system. When we teach children or get children into this habit of not getting adequate rest, we're fracturing their mental stability. And may I say this, that there are many persons who have lots of money, are highly successful and struggle mentally in their day-to-day lives. It's going to come to a point where we're going to determine what do we value, wellness or success. And as once
Go ahead.
Success is important, but you're going to spend all that success trying to catch up back with your mental health and wellness.
What's the point if you get successful and make all the money and have to spend it on clinical assistance, right? Here's my question to you again. Another cultural thing we have, Georgia, where, especially now, since PEP has come in, sorry PEP, but my daughter went through it, so I know, and I've seen parents stress out about it and kids stress out about it. It seems to me now, as you're saying, these kids are telling you, we can't have PE because we have tasks to do, and we can't do this because we have this subject to do. It's almost like we've come to a place where we're villainizing play. Like you hear parents say, I said it to Erin, there's no time for playing right now, you have X to do. And it's so unfair. Like hindsight is 2020 when I think back on it now. As parents, we get so caught up in all of it that we make them feel bad if they want to go outside and breathe.
And I don't even know if it's parents' fault, because we're in a system where this is the best that we're doing. I think parents are doing an amazing job. Most parents are great parents. But if we're in a system where, let's think about it, Neville and Simone. If a child does 10 subjects in school and each instructor gives 10 assignments that are due on the day, when does the child really get to sleep? So the problem isn't necessarily the parents pushing and saying you have to do this, because the parents are trying to have the child deliver, which is understandable. The problem is really the academic system that does not recognize that it is not practical. Personally, my thinking is, if we have a system where students have to stay up and can't get their rest, then something is wrong. There has to be a review of the curriculum. And people say, oh, but we're making children soft and weak. Academics doesn't make children strong. That's not where human strength comes from. There are lots of studies, there's data to back it up, that there are countries where children don't do homework, spend more time playing than doing academics, and those children grow up to be very healthy,
very successful.
Yes, and that's why when our children go to other countries, they excel so much, because all of them will tell you when they get to other countries, the academic demands are so much less. So of course they're going to master and fly through those curriculums. What we want to, when I think about it, when people ask me, I have 2 boys, and people say, what do you want for your children? My desire is that they will find a path in life where they are happy with themselves, they're happy with journey and they're happy with their place. Because I don't want them to be the most successful and be unhappy.
Yeah. Georgia, you need to start a school. Thanks. Yeah, it's true.
Yeah, thank you so much, Georgia. Great to have you with us this morning. Good thoughts.
Nice insights,
And excellent thoughts.
Yeah.
Not certain I agree with everything, but excellent thoughts.
I agree, Georgia.
Have a great day and God bless you and your family. Yep. Clinical psychologist, Georgia
Rough,
Rose.
man. It's rough.
Up next, getting ready for back to school. We have the president of the Jamaica Teachers Association with us. Stay with us, please.